Hi, and welcome to the Inharmony podcast. I'm Lisa, and every week I'll be speaking with a new guest about how to be more in harmony with our environment and with ourselves. Today, I'm here with Marco, a photographer and digital artist on Instagram. Enjoy! Hi Marco, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
So you're a photographer and digital artist on Instagram, and you
Yes.
post climate change artwork every day. So where do you come from?
So I come from the northern part of Italy, so just down from the Alps. And yes, I've lived here most of my life, even though I traveled a lot all around the world. And yes, but let's say that my base is here, like on the foothill of the Alps.
Yeah, so you've always been close to nature and
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was born in Como. It's Lake Como, one of very beautiful lake that we have in Italy. And all around this lake where I was born, there are like very beautiful mountains, a lot of trails, river. For example, one of the tallest mountain in Europe, in the European Union, Mont Blanc, is just 2 hours from here. So I'm very lucky to be born here. So yeah.
so mountain in nature is always a really inspiring place to be, I guess.
Absolutely, they're very, very important. And it's both nice to be in nature, and also it's also very it's a very healthy thing to do. So yes.
Is it something that really inspired you for your work and your photography? Is it where it comes from, your love for nature?
Well, I started my photography journey as a photographer, like a very amateur photography in nature, like doing photography, nature photography, macros, and mountain photography. And lately I decided that it was not enough to like take photos or time lapses or videos of mountains and nature, because it was not like I wanted to have like something that was meaning, like that has some meaning to do, like that had some meaning. So I then decided to open this new project about climate change photography and videos and art. So I like to say I started from nature in the mountains, and now I'm trying to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, so talk to us more about it. You switched from nature to more urban photographies.
Well, let's say that I started in nature, doing nature photography and landscapes and these kind of things. But then I realized that I wanted to do something more interesting than just taking photos of beautiful places and beautiful mountains and beautiful sceneries. So I was like thinking, what can I do outside of my other project? It is like a company that works in the sustainability. And I was like, well, I'm good in photography, kind of. I like to try it and like experimenting on digital art and these kind of things. So I was like, well, maybe I can do something more and try to do some art and some photography about climate change. That's how like this new project called Climate Change Countdown like was born. Like basically trying to say, okay, I'm good in art, but I want to do something more that has more meaning than just taking photos of mountains.
Yeah, I saw your photographs, and
Yeah.
I also read your captions. I find them really interesting because anytime I read them, it makes me reflect and think of climate change, and I really ask myself questions it's super important to change our habits and really see the world differently.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I would say like the most difficult part of doing this everyday project, like everyday art. So every day I post one climate change related digital art. And the most difficult part is like creating the caption, like taking the photography or the photo or like traveling to a place and doing the art. It's like the fun part. Then trying to have like a title and post it every day, and do some research before you're posting something, of course. Like that's like the most difficult part. So I'm glad you are enjoying it and liking it.
Amazing. I'm sure everyone who reads your captions is led to a place like to think about climate change and really realize the importance of it?
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the objective of it. So first, like stop the person like from scrolling, realize like what that this person is seeing, and then through the caption and the title, like have some like time to reflect on these kind of very important things.
And what is the first thing you want people to feel when they see your pictures? Like, is it fear? Like, I mean, fear about like what the world is going to become if they don't act or if they don't try to change their habits, or is it like,
Yeah, yeah. Let's say that for me, the most important thing is to let people know and be aware that there is like a very big urgency to do something. Like the whole project called Climate Change Countdown is inspired from the climate change clock. And it's this clock that is saying that we have 70 years and now it's 70 years and 102 days right now when we are recording the podcast to like react and do something to limit the temperature from going too high. So this is how the project was born. So outside of like taking photos of nature, of climate change, global warming, etc., was like trying to spread awareness on climate change and let people understand that there is a real urgency. We have just 7 years. So that's like the core of the project.
yeah, yeah, that's really amazing. And the fact that you mix art with photography, like, how do you do it? You take the picture and then you come back on it and just add art stuff on the computer. Like, how does it work?
So now I'm trying to do different type of art because I'm trying to, I'm posting one photo every day. I'm inspired by another artist called Beeple, and this artist, for example, he started doing one art every day to become better on 3D art. And in my case, I want to do one digital art every day to spread the awareness on climate change, the most that I could do. And I'm trying to do different things because, one picture every day is like a lot of material. Like in just 1 month, you have 30 pictures, 30 pieces of art. So I'm both doing some photography where I travel to a place that is related somehow to climate change. So both because it's very beautiful, it's full of solar, and I took some pictures, for example, in Netherlands of solar farms, wind farms, or other very beautiful projects. But I also took some very terrible pictures of the effects of climate change and global warming, for example, in Germany, where I took some photos of the floods last summer. So I'm both trying to express through my art both the positive side of this challenge. So, trying to achieve the total zero carbon to produce the electricity, but also I'm trying to document the negative side. And so photography, I take the photos and then I edit them to enhancement them. And digital art is different. I'm experimenting in different ways, and it's a path. So I'm trying to post every day and try to experiment with different type of arts. So it's developing. So yeah.
Yeah, it depends. Like when you take the picture and then how you feel when you see that picture, and just you go with your feelings with the editing and the art part.
Yeah, let's say that when you take the picture, it's, how can I say, when you're taking the picture, your focus is on taking the best picture that you can, like using your brain, try to take the best composition, etc., etc. Then the post-production is a way to enhance what you have seen and try to show the viewer, through the post-production. You try to let's say from a very raw photo, you try to enhance it to let the viewer of the photos to see what you've seen through the eyes. So for example, I took these pictures in Netherlands, and they were very beautiful pictures about solar farms, solar parks. So they had very beautiful colors because I was very happy. I felt very well in that place. But when I took other pictures, for example, in Germany, in this coal mine, it was a terrible place. Also, the day was it didn't help because it was very cloudy, very dark. But this huge coal mine, one of the biggest in Europe, was it was such a terrible place, very terrible and scary place. So through post-production, I try to enhance that through colors and different techniques, compositions, etc.
Yeah, yeah, that's so interesting. Like, because two people could go there and take the same picture and then edit it two different ways because they didn't feel the same thing when they
Yeah,
saw the
absolutely.
picture.
Yeah, that's the deal in post-production. Like that's very
Yeah,
important.
like that's the magic in art.
Yeah, yeah,
In
absolutely.
a way. And so, and how do you choose where to go next? Like, which country, which place to visit? Like, how do you know where to go?
Okay, so like the last autumn, it was like an expedition. So I was planning to go to Norway with my dad because he wanted to come back there. And we said, okay, we want to go there, but I also wanted to like develop this new project, and I needed a lot of pictures. So I was like looking to the road trip from Milan, my area, to yeah, let's say half of Norway, so like the southern part of Norway and the central part. And I made some research, searched some solar farms, some wind farms, some very beautiful places like eco villages, but I also did some research on negative parts. So like coal plants, coal mines. I like researched like the place where there was the floods last year in Germany. So like that's very important because if you have like a journey to do, you have to search all the things that you have near, then you have to plan also like because you don't want to like pollute too much traveling there. So you have to make the travel efficient. But like for example, after this expedition, now I'm planning to document more things as like summer is coming, so we will see more effect on climate change all around Europe. And then it's different because you cannot plan to go somewhere where is happening something. I will just wait and see what happens. So if there is like a terrible floods in Netherlands, I will just take a train and go there. Or yeah, it will be more improvised.
Yeah, so you go with the news as well. Like,
Yeah, this summer, yeah. So I'm just waiting. I'm here, all my all my gear, and will just wait to go and document something.
yeah, because through, like, it's true that from a year to the next, we can really see the difference. That, like, for example, last year there was so much more rain than this year. There's so
Yeah,
much, like, everything is dry everywhere, and there's been really cold weather, and every flower and fruit, like, we don't even know if we're going to have enough fruits this year because of
absolutely.
how
Like
cold it was. So we
yeah,
can really
yeah.
see the difference.
Yeah, this winter here it was very terrible in northern Italy because we have the Alps that protect this area called Pianura Padana, is a plain, and we didn't have rain for 3 months. We had some little rain last weekend,
Oh,
but
yeah.
we are having like such a terrible drought. Winter here are normally dry, but this is like crazy. Like we didn't have rain for 3 months. Like our main river in this area called Po, it's not completely dry, but it's very very dry. Like they took out from the river a German tank from the Second World War. Yes, they found it because the river was so dry, the level was so low of the water, and they just found a tank from the Second World War, and everyone was like, "Okay, what is happening?" And this is just a small thing, but all the effects on agriculture and other things, we will see these effects in the next months.
Yeah, and that's a powerful image. Like finding a tank from the Second World War, like is the
Yeah,
effects from the past that like really affect us today. That we can even see the proofs of everything that happened in the past. Like
yeah,
it's
it's
crazy,
just such a terrible period.
and it makes me wonder, like, what will we find like 10 years from now with the Ukraine war happening right now? Like, will we find Russian tanks maybe or Ukrainian tanks in rivers like in 10 years from now? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
the
crazy.
weather is changing and it's changing in a bad way. So yeah, absolutely, very probable.
Yeah, and have you been able to see, like, because have you been living in the same area your whole life, like since you were a child till now in Italy?
Well, kind of like northern part of Italy. Yes, I lived part of my life in this area called Varese. Then when I was a teenager, I moved in the mountain for another project, and I worked there like for 10 years, kind of 7, 10 years. And then I moved back here now. Yes, southern part of the Alps, Italian Alps, central part.
Yeah, and so through your pictures and through experiences, have you been able to see like a noticeable difference in the like landscapes and everything around you? Like, is the snow in the Alps staying or leaving more
Yeah,
and more every year and
that's
stuff?
that's a very important point because when you're having very dry winters like this one, you don't have any snow in the Alps. Like in the highest peaks of yes, of course. Like here around Lake Como, like in the Alps we call the Alps, like the central part of the Alps, and like the previous part we called Pre-Alpi, so like the southern part of the Alps. And on this part of the Alps, there is no snow in this period. Like, and it's not normal. Even though we have very small glaciers here, it's kind of normal to have some snow during winter, to do some alpinist things, or some hiking in the snow, or some ski. And this year, nothing. So yeah, you can see the difference. Even though like I'm 25, so I didn't experience the very cold winters of like, for example, 100 years ago. Even that, I can see the difference from like the 20 years ago and now.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That like the difference is really seems really huge
Yeah, yeah.
from 100 years ago to now. And you said you traveled a lot. Where's the most beautiful place you went to?
Mm, I would say Norway, even though I've seen many beautiful places also in Asia. For example, I've been there a couple of times. Norway somehow is such a very inspiring place because it's so different. Even though we have a kind of the same place, in the Alps with mountains, with lakes, with rivers. Even that, it's so different. Like the geography is completely different. It's it's such a place where you just go there and you have many surprises. I will just say that traveling there.
Yeah, what kind of
Yeah,
surprises?
yeah, you just see different things from the geographical point of view. Like mountains are different, the fjords are something like very weird in my way because we have mountains, but you also have to see. And like the first time I went there, I did North Cap, so I traveled from Milan to the top of Norway, and it's a very long journey. But you can see also how like the landscape changes the more you go north, and that's very inspiring. You just see very different things from the south to the north, and you're just wow, 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 and it doesn't stop. So even though I told you I've been to other very beautiful places that I found very inspiring. For example, Taiwan, or also Asia. Norway is such a very interesting place to see and experience.
Yeah, that sounds really beautiful. Like Norway, especially, and like when you traveled, did you meet people who had a different lifestyle from us, who had who lived in who had to change their lifestyle because of climate change, or they decided to live a more healthy way?
Well, through climate change, I need time to think about it because I don't think so. But like people that traveled from one place of the world to the other, maybe also inspired by the fact of climate change. Yeah, it could be. Yes, I've met people that like moved from different areas and changed completely their life. Like I knew this like friend of my father. She was born in Taiwan, then she moved to Switzerland, then she moved back. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's true that today, like even in I think it's in India, they have a lot of floods, and they have to move. Like the people who live so close to the water, they have to move away because their houses are flooded. So that's crazy to think that like we caused climate change, and we are also impacted by it like so much that we have to change our
Absolutely.
lives.
Yeah, there are some parts of the world that are very like they are already affected. heavily by this thing, by climate change. For example, I was reading about California. A lot of people are moving, and they have already moved from California to other parts of the United States. And that's, one thing that is very interesting, and I would like to document. For example, I was kind of thinking about to take a journey and go to India, because there, the effects of climate change, you can really see and experience them, then taking pictures and creating art through that. So that could be one of the next journey and travels.
Yeah. India is like a really big place, and seems really affected by every change happening.
Yeah, and their weather is very, compared to the European weather, it's much stronger. You can already see heavily the effects. Also, the fact that there is so much poverty. It's more different. If you are in Germany, for example, the people last year suffered from the flood in Germany. They had somehow the opportunity to move from one place to the other one, or they had some kind of insurance to rebuild the house, or some possibilities to move. That also applies to other parts like California. In India, this is different. Some people are just leaving from the mountains and going to the city because their mountain house was destroyed by the river that flooded. So it's different. Yeah, I would like to go there. Absolutely.
They have beautiful places, but they also have maybe places that were destroyed by all this change. And I was wondering, what is the place you saw that was destroyed and that you pictured? It was beautiful, but it was also destroyed.
Yeah, I think this town in Germany that I saw, that I took some pictures last autumn, that was very, very strange experience. So completely a town built in a German style. So the foundation are very strong, the roads are very beautiful and very strong, and you just go there. And then I took the drone. I went up 200 meters, and it was crazy. Half of the town, this small 100 houses town, half of the town was gone. And I took the pictures, I think after 2 months that the floods happened. And even though it was not that terrible as the picture that I saw the previous month when there were the floods, so you could see all the water and all the chaos around. Now it was better, but even that you can see from these pictures that I took that half of the town is gone, and that's very scary. I repeat this, I was not taking pictures somewhere along a river in India where the houses are built with wood and some scrap metal. These were German houses, very strong houses, very well built, and half of them were just gone.
Yeah, that shows how powerful nature is.
Very
between fire and flooding, I don't know which one is the most lethal to human life.
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Surely both, very different, and also depends where you live, in which area, how your house is built, and depends.
Yeah, it really shows that we can't fight against all the nature effects. Everything that happens, we can't fight against it.
Yeah, you can try somehow to prevent it, or try to move in different places, but at the end it could happen.
Yeah, truly. And so what is your favorite artwork that you did, the one you're the happiest about?
My favorite artwork
that delivered the most powerful message?
That's a nice question. One of the first, because when I started this project, I was just posting pictures that I edited. I took the picture, then I edited it and I posted it. And then I was kind of thinking about doing something different, and I tried to experiment through AI art, so artificial intelligence generated art. And it's a very interesting type of art. It's a new thing, and I kind of experimented on it. And one of the first one that I posted like it went, like people liked it, and I was very surprised because it was a very difficult, different things to do, and people kind of enjoyed it. So I was like happy about it. And in this picture, in this art, you can see like sea. You can see some platforms, some oil platforms on the distance, on fire, and you can see the water that is polluted. And I did this artwork because there was happening something in Mexico. Now I can't remember like very precisely, but it was like done to inspire and to show people that things were happening from the other side of the world, even though no one was talking about it.
Yeah. Because sometimes like we see the floods or the fires in one place of the world, and because we're not far, because we're not close from it, then we don't feel the effects, but they're very real on humans and animals alike.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. Like art can help in different ways, can enhance like something that is happening. You can like through art try to spread awareness on climate change. For example, this disaster that happened, it was in Peru, and like there was this very big oil spill, and it was blamed because there was like this eruption of this Tonga volcano. I don't know if you can remember it. And like I couldn't go there, for example, I couldn't travel to Peru. It was just something crazy just to go there and to take pictures. It was not possible for me. But through art, even though I was not there, I tried to express and try to like create something related to that project, like to that disaster. And in this case, I'm like watching the numbers, like 3,000 people watched this post. Even though it's not much, still 3,000 people like read my caption and stopped for a second to, try to see what was happening in Peru. So yeah.
yeah, but still 3,000 people. Like if each post you have like 3,000 people, and if they're all different, then it's already a win. Like if someone saw it and it just brought a question to their mind, and maybe a realization that they have to change some things in their lifestyles. For example, they could go to work every day instead of driving every day. Then it's a progress in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, what I'm lately thinking is that I would like to even have bigger numbers. So I'm thinking of different ways to do that. We will see in the future, maybe some art in real life, like outside of social media, also through some exhibitions around Europe. We'll see.
Yeah, so you're thinking, what would be your next project then? Like you'd like to travel and exhibit your art like in
Like,
reality out of
yes,
social
I'm
media?
thinking about doing some kind of like nomad exhibition around Europe
Mm-hmm.
where I can just move and at the same time have some like bring my art in different places in real life, so outside of social media and telephones. That could be probably like the next project. But it's kind of complicated to like print all the arts and find places to like bring the art and put them in the studio or museum. So, but yeah, probably that will be the next step.
Okay, so that would be your next project, to
Yeah,
bring your
yeah,
art alive.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to understand how I can bring art around Europe, European Union, and at the same time be able to travel and go document if something happens. So, I need to put different things into one.
Oh yeah, well that's really interesting. It's a really interesting project. Like to travel and to really exhibit everything that you do to raise even more awareness. Like that's really interesting. And so where would be your next destination?
Are you talking about the exhibitions or like
No,
in
like
general?
travel destination, next place to
Like,
go and take pictures of.
like from the climate change point of view, mm, I'm not sure. Like, I'm waiting for something to happen like this summer or this spring. So it will depend. Could be like Portugal, could be the Alps. For example, now the Alps are very dry. There is such a terrible drought, so it could be very easy to like have some fires here. But it will depend on what will happen because the the core of this project is to document the effects of climate change and of global warming. So it depends where these effects will like develop. And outside, if I want to document like more positive things or things that they will just happen. For example, I'm like looking for this glacier in the Alps that they cover every year to try to slow the melt of this glacier. So I'm like planning to go there and waiting for the time where they will cover it with these huge white blankets. So that will probably like the next place that I would go to document.
So how do they do? Like they cover the mountains with blankets?
Not the mountains, like the glacier. Like they take the southern part of the glacier.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one that is more exposed, and they just put this huge blanket on it. And I documented this kind of thing in this glacier in Switzerland called Rhone. And it's very interesting because you can go there and you can also go under these blankets and you can really see from, like, it's literally there. You can see and experience the melting of the glacier. Like normally you just hear the news or you see some pictures, maybe like before and after, so 100 years ago and now. But in this glacier called Rhone, you can just go there and experience it, like with your eyes. You can just touch the glacier and see that it's literally melting. And even though it's kind of obvious that it's melting, still like seeing it from your eyes and touching it and feeling all the sound of this like water that is coming down, it's such an experience. So yeah, the next place will be probably not this glacier, another one in Italy, in the southern part, near Bergamo, I think. So yeah, that will be the next place I will go there and I will document it.
Yeah, that's interesting because when you see it from your eyes, like directly, it hits different than seeing a photograph, or even if it's a beautiful photograph, but when you go and you're present in the moment and you re-experience it, like you
absolutely
understand.
it's all about the experience. And if you are there and outside of like seeing it, but also like hearing the sounds, smelling the air and everything, that's like the biggest experience you can do.
Yeah, me for one experience I had with discovering the really big effects of climate change were when I was in Spain a couple years ago before COVID happened, and all the lands there, like the earth is red because it's so dry in the summer. Like the temperatures can reach 45 degrees Celsius, which is super hot, and the earth is red and everything is super dry, like it's cracked. And so that's one moment where it really hit me, and I was like, oh my god, like it's nature, it's supposed to be full of water, and it's all dry and cracked. And that was really a powerful moment to see it.
The point is seeing it in yourself. Like you're there, you're experiencing it, and you stop and you think about it. That's, I think, like the most important thing that can happen to a person. So yeah, if everyone is around Switzerland, please go to this glacier. It's such an incredible experience, and probably in the next 30 years, it will probably be there, but like not as I've seen it. So yeah, time is running.
So that's great. So we're looking forward to seeing the pictures of this project. I have one last question to ask you. What advice would you give to someone who would like to be more in harmony with themselves and with their environment, with nature around them? Like, should they express this important thing through art, or like what advice could you give them?
I would give them the advice to like as much as they can do, and to be outside as much as they can be outside. Like go outside, like expose yourself, do things, and that's like my biggest advice. Like do more.
Yeah, that's really inspiring advice. Thank you so much for your time. I'll leave your links in the description of the podcast.
Absolutely, thank you.
And thank you so much. It was a really interesting talk.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you liked this episode.
Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the next ones, and I'll see you again next week with a new guest and new tips on how to be more in harmony with yourselves. Take care!